All right. Well, this is a presentation about the new features and developments we've got coming up in ARIA, either coming up or fairly recently released. I'm Marcus, one of the software developers, and also Joshua is going to be talking about some of the new developments as well. So I'll just start off with the new features. So this is a big one. We've very recently migrated Instruct to our new login system. So that means as of Monday, every single project on ARIA that is being hosted by ARIA is now using the new login system. This is superior to our old one. It's better for GDPR. It's ready for the new life science AI, and comes with new login and registration pages and a new account management page. And this also provides better and more secure access, and provides more allows users to have specific attributes that are required for certain access routes and things like that. So that's the newest one. So something that was released this year was some enhancements for moderators. So, for example, you can now view reviewer statistics on the moderation page when you're selecting reviewers, and that allows you to just have a little table to see what reviewers you've got on your access route, and some of their statistics are like you know, how quickly they get back and make their review for their proposals. And you can also now re-invite reviewers that have declined. So if a reviewer has declined, but you've realized, but they've now are able to review that, maybe they declined because they were out of office or something, and suddenly now they're back, so they can now review it. You can just click this button and they can give it another go. So here we've also got a new ability to request access for an individual service in one link. So this kind of skips some of the steps of our proposal submissions process, and it makes things a bit easier for people, and it's also coming in use for a lot of upcoming projects and things as well. But essentially, as an example of how it would work, let's say you're on the Instruct website and you're a user and you want to request access to an individual service. So you find what service you're interested in and you think, oh, that looks good. This request access button will now actually go straight to requesting for an actual visit on that service, rather than just taking you to the request access page. So this speeds things up a lot and makes things a lot easier and more intuitive for the users who are trying to get access to your services. And even if you're not in Instruct, this will be something that you can do on any access route as well. In the future, we're going to be supporting it for any access route, especially for new ones. Yes, another new feature. This is a proposal revision resubmission. So basically, let's say you're a moderator. Oh yes, as Mark has mentioned here, external links are also really handy if you have your own website as well. So as I say, in the future, or if you've got your own site using ARIA for your access, you can just have links to go straight to apply for that, for access to a specific service, like you've got a highlight on that service or something on your front page or something like that. So yes, let's say you're a moderator, back to this, and you reject a proposal, but actually you're only rejecting it because you want to suggest changes to the proposal. We want the user to resubmit it ultimately, and you want to suggest some changes. So something we're doing is now, when you reject the proposal, this pop-up appears, and it allows you to choose to either outright reject the proposal, or you can request resubmission. When you click request resubmission, this pops out, and essentially you can type a reason for maybe some suggestions for what needs to be changed. And then you'll click request resubmission, and that allows you, and what that essentially does is it clones the proposal, and creates a new copy of the original proposal in draft, for the user to then update and then resend. The original proposal is rejected, it's declined, but as I say, a new proposal is created with all the same information, and it's linked such that even the reviews, the old reviews, will show up for the new proposal. So all the reviewers are still there, and their reviews will be displayed, but the reviewers will still get an opportunity to re-review it, just they get to see the old review next to when they're reviewing, they get to see the review from the original proposal. And yeah, you can also, when you view the proposal, you will see that the proposal is linked, so you can go back and see the history of the original proposals, and if it happens multiple times, you can go back through the history of the various proposals that were resubmitted. All right, so another improvement we've had recently has been visit progress tracking. So this is tracking of individual sessions on a visit on both the back end and the front end. And I think this was a requested thing for quite a long time. I know Els, this is something you specifically requested. You came to me and asked for it. So we've done it. As you can see on the visit management page, I think you've seen on some of the other slides that other people have had. We now show sessions and their statuses of the sessions listed on the visit management page. And also we show these on the view proposal page and on the front end, so users get to see the current status of their proposal, and all of the visits on their proposal and what step it's on. So it's even more important to make sure to keep the current step of your visits up to date, essentially, because now the users can see it, and it's good to keep everyone on the same page. All right, so another new feature. This has fairly recently gone live, and it's still being improved as recently as this last week. But this is a new ability to automatically clean out old visits that have sort of been left and kind of not been updated in a long time. Currently, this is mostly used for bookings, but I think people have brought up the idea that visits are being left on the reporting stage and aren't being updated, so this could be updated to use that as well. That is something that we could potentially do. But essentially the way this works is we now have these stages that a visit can go through, where if there's been no activity on them, they will get flagged for being inactive, essentially, or get suspended. So on your access route level, you get the ability to set these how long it takes for these things to happen. So after X months of activity, let's say 6 months, 6 months in total, your visit could be set as suspended. And in this case, activity specifically basically just means any kind of update to the visit or any messaging from the users, like the PI, the proposal team, to in ARIA, essentially. So to the service admin or the access administrator or anything like that. even this includes sessions as well, obviously. So sessions are updated. That also counts as activity. So let's say you've got a visit. It's been stuck in booking for on a booking step, and a booking's tried to be arranged, but nobody's heard from anyone for about 3 months or so. Then the visit would be considered inactive. You guys probably won't see anything change other than a little inactive flag appear on the visit, either on the visit page or on the little visit little box on like the management page or the proposal page. And the PI will be told that, oh, your visit's been inactive, what's going on, and reminded to keep things up to date and keep people in contact. And then let's say another 3 months go by and that's ignored, nothing happens, then the visit will be suspended. This doesn't actually change what actually the visit can do or what can be done with the visit, but it just signifies that in a certain amount of time after this suspension, the visit will be automatically closed off and cancelled because no activity has happened on it. This is an opportunity that so emails also go out here to the PI and the facility contacts, and then communication needs to happen essentially. So if basically the proposal will stay suspended until someone decides, until a facility contact decides, okay, we've talked to them now, we know what's going on, I'll unsuspend it. So then they can unsuspend it and reset the whole process back to it being active again. But if that doesn't happen, let's say the 6 months suspended period runs out, then it'll go into a grace period. Again, that's customizable, doesn't have to be 1 month, but in this example, it'll go for a 1 month grace period, as you've got in the example of this visit here. It's in its grace period, and then it will get cancelled basically after that time runs out, and the reason would be cancelled automatically due to inactivity. And another thing to note is that the visit can only be unsuspended a limited number of times. Again, you can set that up on the access route. So as I say, this is currently being used, but it's live, but it's only actually active on the Isidori services that we provide through Instruct. So that's the only place it's kind of being used on those to kind of test it for a bit, since it's quite a new and quite a big change. But eventually we do want this on Instruct, because people would find that very useful, we think. All right, well, that's my half. Oh, actually, never mind. There is one more I wanted to mention. So there is still an ability to do this manually as well. So the way we calculate last activity, I've created this page here that on ARIA basically for admins to check. You can see it on facility tab, go down to configuration, and then you can see it under incomplete visits. And this basically lists active visits that are open and ongoing, but and then it shows how long ago the last activity there was. So if it was a long time ago, you can order it by how long it's been. It'll show up the ones that have been inactive for the longest will be at the top, and then you can cancel it manually if you want. Let's say it's been open for over 12 months and it hasn't been automatically closed off, then you can just cancel it here, or you can contact the users or something like that using the little arrow here, the drop down menu. All right, that's my side done. All right, well, I'll hand over to Josh now if he's ready.
Yep, cool. I assume you'll be controlling the slides.
I can hand over control to you if you'd like.
I'll just tell you when to go over the slide. It's fine. Or I do that. Okay.
I've done it. Yeah.
Right. So yeah, I'm Josh Ruff. I'm a software developer here at ARIA. My colleague was going over some of the recent features that have hit ARIA. Did that work? Yes, it did. Cool. Okay, so I'm going to sort of be discussing sort of future development, what is in the works and what we plan on doing in the future. Access calls. So time-limited access done the right way. Now, currently we have calls, which are, temporary means, applications where you can review that have review and moderation functionality. When you want to create a proposal, you have to use an access route. And at Instruct, we tend to have access routes that are permanent, permanent means of access. And correct me if I'm wrong, and have the services that stay there for an infinite amount of time. However, for other projects, you may want a temporary means of requesting access. And we do that by setting up access routes with a start and end date. And it works on paper. However, it's kind of inefficient. It's very monotonous to set up. And what we plan to do is create access calls. Now, what access calls are essentially temporary means of access, which derive off of an existing access route. So on the right here, and just for clarification, this is proof of concept. This isn't the UI you would see. This is sort of an imagining of how these access calls would work. So an access route could contain all of these different categories. And here would be sort of an idea of taking some of those categories and then setting up a temporary means of access via an access call. So you'd be able to go into these as a user and create a proposal the same way you would in an access route. And in terms of management, you would be able to, they will be based off of this access call. So each, you can have as many access calls as you want. You can set them up from the same access route. For instance, you could have these three categories highlighted in the proof of concept here in one access call. And then you could have, I don't know, nanobody discovery, cell imagining, protein production in another access call for whichever reason. And the proposals, as I said, will be unique to each access call in terms of management. So yeah, this is something that is it's in production, and we hope to get out at some point in the future. So this is essentially, this will be able to give power to the access admins to set up their own calls rather than it having to be done manually. So yes, next slide. So machine service facility access requirements. So as a access admin, you may be familiar with attribute bundles, which sets out the requirements of people going into that access route, the requirements of what information of their profile they have to provide. And here are some examples of that. If you are, for instance, supposed to provide, gender or your orchids, I think it's called the orchid ID, then if the user that you try to select as, for instance, a home lab colleague, you'll have some red writing saying that the user has an incomplete profile. So this is, we do highly suggest that everybody who signs up has an account to fill in their profile. That usually makes things a lot easier. However, what we are planning on doing is we want each service, method, facility, or machines to have their own set of attribute bundles. And what this means is, instead of the entire access route having to have the same requirements for every single service within that access route, you've only got to set it for each specific service, method, or facility. So if one service needs your ORCID ID, but another service doesn't, then you won't be restricted across the entire access route just because you don't have your ORCID ID. So that is the idea behind this feature. Next. So apologies, this slide is pretty tech heavy. So I'm just going to sort of go over an overview of what this means. Okay, so in your profile, you can, if you're familiar, you can get publications and add it to your profile. Since ARIA is always expanding into different domains, we got this issue where we would use, for instance, PubMed as our DOI resource, and there are publications of a certain domain that just don't exist within that resource. So you end up not being able to find many publications, and this becomes a growing problem. So what we have done is, in behind the scenes, what you don't have to worry about is that we're going to get all these different resources together, and we have increased the searchability accordingly. So you will be able to search by different kinds of metadata, such as the title of a publication and the author of a publication. More options for searchability can be added, but for now, those are the two key pieces of data that you can search. And of course, the DOI tied to a publication. So that fixes kind of the issue that we have in terms of searchability, and this can always be improved on top of. So a nice little feature there. Okay, so this concerns access admins more than it does users. So we have created a new ARIA platform in a sense. I don't know if that's the right way to call it, but it's a new way of being able to sort of host a project site. And what this allows you to do is it will allow you to perform extra customizations without having to have all of this done by ARIA, the ARIA team in behind the scenes. So this is more efficient, it saves a lot more time, and again, it provides more customization potential for the access that you are trying to give to your users. One of these examples, as you can see at the bottom here, is this term called service option. So service option is just, it's presets of displaying services within your access route during the proposal phase. And as you can see here on the screenshot, this is a category first configuration. You can have it as a service type first configuration in terms of how it's laid out and the organization, or you could have it country first. More options can be available, but those are the starting presets we have. We hope this will be seeing use quite soon. And yeah, maybe a occurring thing that pops up in the future. And the onboarding wizard, just to briefly explain this, this is a sort of an idea or a concept that we have within the ARIA team of giving, being able to provide a way to set up your own project hosted on ARIA. This is something that hasn't actually seen much development yet. It's still an idea, but a lot of these features and systems being developed have this onboarding wizard in mind. So yeah, so the recurring theme here is that we're shifting a lot of power to the access admins that will be able to speed up you know, your projects or getting features out that you just general customization. Okay, so if any of you hopefully can maybe be familiar of what this is the current admin bar at the bottom of each site hosted by ARIA. And as you can see here, it's got a lick of paint, or it's just been completely reorganized. So here, what has been done is there have been, you know, some, I would say, quality of life improvements to the bar. All it ever displays right now is the Your Admin button. And most of the common occurrences we've seen with going into Your Admin is using the message panel and also the site selector. So what we have done is brought these to the admin bar, but we have retained the Your Admin button to remain the same look and feel, just so it doesn't confuse any of you. Because this is a global change. This will affect everybody. So if we can get as much feedback to this draft here, that would be excellent. And you can ask for any other maybe features or suggestions or issues that you see with this concept here. I have moved so in the dashboard within Instruct-ERIC, you may have seen a profile completion bar. This has been moved to the admin bar. We do highly suggest that you complete your profile just to make everything so much easier. And we've moved some elements such as the logging in and out and the dashboard to the bar as well. So yeah, not much else to really say about this other than you either hate it or you love it. Please, again, feel free to give feedback on this. Okay, so again, ARIA user group. It would be highly appreciated if people do join the ARIA user group. Your voice does matter. It will be looked at, and it will be, you know, taken into consideration when adding or changing features in ARIA. As you have seen previously, user feedback has been taken into consideration and applied to ARIA. So this is the Trello group. Yeah, that's me.